All right, welcome to the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest yet again. I brought my stepdad, Jon Kelso, back in the studio to kind of talk about really everything all over again. It's been almost, what, a year
Probably about a year.
since we last did one. So,
Yeah.
um, starting out, just kind of refreshing what happened last time. You wanted to kind of talking about your weight loss journey and how much you lost.
Yeah. So it was probably around 2020, whenever all the gyms and stuff started to close because of COVID, that I finally started really wanting to get control of my weight and everything. So I had ballooned up to about 230. And that's with only being about 5'5", so I was pretty overweight. And anyway, so I just started going to the parks and stuff. I started getting like a rucksack and kind of marching around, and I'd increasingly add weights to it and everything. And then when the gyms finally reopened, I started going back, doing a little bit of stuff on the treadmills, a little bit of cardio. Finally got into kind of actually jogging and running, and then finally actually got back into lifting the weights. And then over the course of about a year, I was able to drop about 80 pounds altogether. And then ever since then, I've been able to keep it off for the most part.
Good.
So, yeah. So it's been a journey, but it's been amazing.
It's always a journey. So last time we talked, I think you were sitting at probably like what, 150, 155?
Yeah, I was probably right at about 150 the last time that we talked. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Is that gone up or is it gone down?
I've gone up just a hair. Like I've been pretty consistent lately at about 160.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I've been eating just a little bit more, and I mean really just because. I mean no real reason, not necessarily trying to gain a lot more. It's just been eating a little bit more, and I haven't maybe on some of the workouts been quite as extreme as what I was. But yeah. But I still feel good at this weight, and I'm still able to push quite a bit of weight. So
Well,
yeah, so it's still good.
that's what matters. I mean, so you gained a little bit. Is that because you changed your mindset a little bit, or is that really just because you kind of?
I think it kind of started around, kind of right before Thanksgiving, with just the holidays and everything, and there was so much extra food, and the gym wasn't open quite as much, and I was not going quite as often, and not being quite as restrictive on my eating, and so yeah, I think just over the course of a few months, I kind of put on maybe about 10 more pounds altogether. Yeah. Yeah. And I've often thought about, just shedding that back down. I mean, I know how to do it. I mean, it really wouldn't be that hard to do. But honestly, for the most part, like, I mean, clothing still fits great. I still feel good. I mean, I feel like I actually have more energy at 160 than what I did at 150. So, and even then, that's still 70 pounds less than what I was. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe I'll go on a cut again at some point, but at the moment, I'm still feeling pretty good about 160.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as you're healthy where you're at, that's what matters.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned the fall winter area. Cause,
Yes.
I think the last episode I just did, I talked about it, and I was like, I think it was October. I want to say October.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, man, I just I just fell hard, and man, I don't even know. I can't even put words to what like caused it.
It's so easy to do it.
I just that one donut became two donuts, became three donuts, became a whole 12 pack of donuts, and then I just was like, you know what, screw it.
Yeah.
And then I just felt guilty and stopped working out.
Well, and also for me, like, I know, because like for a long time I'd done that intermittent fasting, and I had kind of pulled back from that a little bit finally, and was just kind of eating more like, maybe 3 or so regular meals each day, and I wasn't quite as restrictive, and so I'm sure that led to a little bit of an increase, in overall weight, but now I'm back to intermittent fasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even though I'm still staying around 160, just because I'm eating enough to keep myself at that, but I'm not going above or much below that, so I'm staying very consistent with kind of my calories every day. So, and my output in what I do at the gym. So, yeah, it's working pretty good.
Okay.
So,
Well, what nutritionally are you doing to Like you said, you could get back down if you wanted to.
Oh yeah.
How would you do that?
So what I would do is, I mean, at the moment, like I don't specifically count all my calories. I'm just more kind of aware of what I'm eating, and I'm probably on average about 2,500 to 2,600 per day. So what I would do is, if I was going to be real intentional about getting back down to the 150, I would find out exactly kind of what my daily caloric need is to stay where I'm at, and then I'd probably shave about 300 to 500 calories per day off of that, and that will start the process of going back downwards.
Well, right, yeah.
And then once I reach whatever goal I'm hitting for, then I can increase them a little bit more to stay at that specific weight. So it's kind of it's a lot of finesse. I mean, it's not a one size fits all. So
Okay.
yeah, you just kind of have to. Everybody's body's a little bit different, so and
Well, sure.
how it handles things. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
yeah, yes,
The weight gain has affected a lot, and I'll be honest. Like, I guess what got me back into it was the 5K thing. So basically, how that even started was, like, I've always kind of wanted to run
yeah,
a race, and because I've tested the waters with running before. Last year, even I think last summer is when it all kind of started kicking in for me, and yeah, I just kind of woke up one day and was like, you know what? I'm never gonna do it if I don't just do
yeah.
it.
If you don't sign up
And
and
if
do
I
it,
don't
yeah,
just do it, yeah. And
mm-hmm.
so I just decided, you know what, today's the day. I'm
Yep.
just gonna.
Yeah.
I think it was actually like New Year's, so it was like
Yes.
New Year's resolution kind of thing, which nobody ever sticks with. But
Yeah. Most people don't. They have good intentions and maybe they do it for a month or so and then
yeah, that's kind of been. Now I've noticed the main thing, like starting the 5K training and starting the podcast to kind of track it and document it and all that. Well, I mean, that's obviously kept me on track, but
right.
I mean, all in all, it really was the fire that got me back
Oh
into
yeah.
the gym and into getting healthier. But man, it's not an easy road.
It's not.
It's not an easy road because even though I'm running this race and now I've got it officially set in
Official.
stone, like
Yeah.
I spent money on it,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
the
You're
type of
kind of locked
person,
in.
yeah, if I spend money on it, I'm not gonna refund that.
No.
So, I mean, now that it's set in stone, it's like, well, it's there, and I know it's coming, but like trying to get myself to get kickstarted and get back on track has been difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, super difficult. So I don't know if you've experienced that at all.
Oh, I have, yeah. Because I mean, if you kind of have to have a specific, it's easier to accomplish it if you have a specific goal that you're really aiming for. And like in the beginning of my weight loss, like my goal was not, it wasn't necessarily to get down to 150 pounds per se, but my goal was to lose a big chunk of the excess weight that I
Right.
knew I was carrying on my frame. So I was willing to do whatever it took to get to that point. So I started out with just kind of walking, of course, at the park, and then when the gyms reopened, like I'd still just kind of walk, but maybe on an incline on the treadmill. Then I got to the point where I was getting better at just kind of jogging a little bit, and then full on running a little bit, and kind of between that and jogging, and then got back into that plus lifting weights. So for a long time, like I was doing probably 5 or 6 days every week at the gym, and I was doing running and lifting.
Like, geez.
So I was pretty, I mean, I was probably
God.
at the gym 3 hours every day. So that, in addition to trying to eat a lot better
Well, sure.
and cutting out mostly all the sugar and a lot of the fried stuff. And I mean, I was eating some pretty plain, bland things, but boy, I tell you what.
Yeah, it'll do it.
Depending on what you want to accomplish and how serious you are, I mean, you're willing to do whatever it takes. So,
Well, and see, it's interesting you say that because I've noticed that that's the main thing I've actually noticed about it. All of this is,
yeah,
and I think I've even said it like 4 times now, and I keep repeating it to myself, but I'm never listening.
right.
Is that you really gotta want it?
You have to want it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be such a. It's got the desire for it has got to be greater than the desire for just sitting on the couch or the desire for the easy donut or whatever. Like your hunger for that goal's got to be greater. And that
Oh
doesn't mean
yeah,
you can't ever have things that you want to have, but you have to be disciplined. I mean, you never achieve great things without a lot of discipline usually. So
Now, that actually brings up an interesting point because you said earlier that kind of in the wintertime you've kind of
yeah,
stepped back.
I did.
And
Yeah, I slacked a little.
yeah, was that were you afraid of kind of relapsing?
Not really, because I was still, even though I was slacking a little bit as far as like the maybe intensity of all of my workouts, or as much frequency of all the workouts, like I was still pretty heavily regulating what I was eating and drinking. So like I still was keeping myself within a certain range. Like so I knew, okay, as long as I stay within this range and don't get too crazy. Now I might, you don't go work out and lift the weights, you're going to lose a little bit of muscle tone and stuff, but
No, sure.
you're not just going to. I'd have to completely quit eating at all healthy and like at this point, and quit working out altogether to ever even come close to getting back to that size. So yeah, it won't
Okay.
ever happen.
It won't ever happen at all.
Because I'm determined to not let it happen.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really the determination, not
yeah.
not the.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I feel like it's not even just about aesthetically looking a certain way. It's just when you're at a healthy body weight, you feel good. Like you want to get up and move around, do things. I mean, whether you can bench press 225 or deadlift 300 or whatever. I mean, those numbers are cool, but and some of that stuff I can do, but it's not even just about those numbers. It's more about just every day waking up, having energy, your joints are feeling good, you can move around, you can do whatever God's called you to do, and you don't have to, you're not decrepit, you're not an invalid, you can, you know what I mean? Like you can just get up and enjoy life. So to me, that's the best advantage of all of it, because in the end, nobody's going to care if you were able to deadlift 300 or 400 pounds or squat this or that, or they don't care. But if you're able to live to a good ripe old age and be healthy, then hey, yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah,
Is just
that's the most important.
Longevity.
Longevity. Yeah,
is vitally important.
That's right.
Well, I mean, for me, just this recent past month, I mean, the main thing for me is I busted up my knee.
Yeah. I remember you said that.
Yeah. Did you watch that episode?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
So, so what happened is I went out there and, like, way overdid it.
Yeah. And hurt yourself.
Yeah, I did. So I did it. I was trying to do a hit run, and so, like, it was sprint, walk kind of thing, and I just wasn't paying attention and didn't realize until the end that my knee, your knee hurts. And then, it all caught up to me right at the end there.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into a situation like that your injury has held you back?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I've hurt myself enough times in the gym to realize that proper form is essential. And it's like, even if you can't lift a certain amount of weight that maybe you desire to lift, I mean, as long as you can lift something but have good form, that's more important than just the total amount of weight.
Okay.
Because the one exercise I think for me personally that was the hardest to get the right form on for a while was the deadlifts. Like for some reason, like it just, the way of the actual movement and motion of doing it just wasn't clicking in my brain, in the beginning. And so, I'd pull my back, or I'd do this or that, or I'd hit my knees and scrape up my shins, and just stupid stuff that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And after you hurt yourself a handful of times doing that stuff, it's like, well, either A, you need to quit doing that altogether, or B, you need to learn how to do it right. So I did some research, read some stuff, watched a lot of different videos of how to properly perform it, and finally got it down pretty good lock and key, I think. So, I mean, now I can do it with a lot of confidence. And I'm not always shooting for just the highest amount I can lift, but I'm always shooting for lifting with the best form I can.
Well, that's something you have definitely drilled into me since the beginning. That's kind of like
so important. Yeah.
Because, it's so easy to hurt
so
yourself.
Easy to hurt yourself.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. I keep learning the hard way, but, I mean, crap. Yeah. Just busting up my knee and that was enough to... I mean, I was out for a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't really get on it much to or I couldn't get on it very long without it
without
like
it hurting
just
really bad,
all the way up my
probably
leg. But
throbbing. Yeah.
oh yeah, but I mean, you learn from those because
Yeah.
now I know.
Yeah.
Don't do a hit training like
Pain
that.
is a great motivator because it motivates you to not want to be in pain.
Exactly.
So whatever you got to do to make sure that doesn't happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I mean, now some people, like, they might say, oh, well, then I just better not go lift. But that, no, go and do it, but just learn how to do things properly,
Yeah.
and don't try to ego lift, Because I know when I was younger, even way before my specific weight loss journey in 2020 when I was in high school and stuff, like, I'd try to ego lift and do stupid things, and I'd hurt myself and pull stuff, and, it's not worth it.
No, it's
No,
not.
It's not.
Well,
You're not impressing anybody, and then you're just hurting yourself.
Well, you may be impressing all the little kids, but
Maybe,
they're all little kids that are going to
yeah.
grow out of it eventually anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's not worth
It's not.
It's not worth the long term consequences
No.
of
No, it's really not.
of doing all that. But so, what kind of motivated you to kind of get back on your health kick that you've been on recently?
As far as like since Thanksgiving and stuff.
Well, yeah, just because you said you were taking
Yeah,
it
I
a
was
little more
just
serious now.
Yeah, I was just like, instead of like maybe 4 days a week of like lifting, I was maybe doing 2 or 3 days a week, and sometimes even the intensity of those specific ones, exercises and workouts, weren't quite as great as what they were when I was a little bit lower body fat. But yeah, I don't know. I think I was like, you know what? I kind of had my little time of just kind of chilling and eating whatever I wanted to eat a lot, and just kind of taking it a little bit more easy. But then I'm like, I know that if you do that for long term, and it is easy to really get off track if you keep it up too long. So I just kind of reeled myself back in, and I was like, you know what, it's time to just get back on point, So
Yeah.
I want my, all the size shirts that I have, I want them to still fit the same, and the pants, and like I don't want to be
I know.
fluctuating here on sizes, and
Man, I'm telling you, it'll get you.
I mean, it could, yeah. I mean, if I went up too much more, it could. So
Yeah. Well, that's kind of been a motivator for me because
yeah.
So I bought. Speaking of shirts, so I bought the shirt.
Yep,
you're
it's a
wearing.
great shirt, very comfortable.
And it's a medium.
It's
and
a medium.
Usually a medium, right?
Yep.
And I'm sure it
Because
runs.
we're usually about the same size.
I'm sure it runs small, but I mean the gut area was a bit tight, and I was like, oh man, like tight enough to where I wouldn't wear it in public, kind of thing. So I was like, dang it. So,
well, it fits really well.
Yeah, well, good.
I'm gonna really enjoy this particular shirt
well,
because it's super stretchy and comfortable, and
oh yeah,
might even use this in a workout, man.
Actually, I'm thinking about doing that.
Might actually.
Yeah, because I mean they're really soft.
Yeah.
Softer than I expected.
Yeah.
From the shirts that I've experimented with, because I've used district made shirts a lot.
Yeah.
And I know I like those, but they shrink.
They do shrink a little bit. Yeah. They do.
But I know all the tri-blend stuff is like moisture wicking enough to where you can work out it. And I've actually worked out in which one was it? It was the same shirt, but I don't think I had anything on it.
Okay, yeah.
And it worked great, man. I was like,
I know most of the gym shirts that I personally use at the gym. I think the company is called Nebulous or something like that.
Oh, Nelius.
Nelius, maybe Nelius. But I have several different versions of their workout shirts. Some of them have like hoods, and some of them are just kind of V-necked, and but they're really good workout shirts. And I mean, and they're not near the only kind out there, but it's just personally what I really like. So.
Yeah.
Been using that for quite a while, but something like this, like usually I wear sleeveless for workouts, but this is stretchy enough and comfortable enough that very well may use this one.
Yeah, shoot, go for it.
Yeah.
Be my guest. I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, that was kind of the idea, making it.
Yeah.
And plus,
great.
Got a positive message on there.
Yeah, it sure does. Yep. I don't know if it's visible or not.
But I say it enough. I'm sure it is now. Yep. Yeah, I kind of ran with that phrase because I actually researched that a little bit. It's I was looking for something like everybody's got to have a catchphrase.
Yeah, everybody needs a catchphrase.
Can't have a podcast without having a catchphrase. So I was looking into some, and there were some that were okay, but the phrasing is particular because, like, yeah, the Bible talks about running your race, and everybody talks about run your race and things
Right.
like that. But this, saying it like this, is like, you're not just running the race; you're actively living it.
Right.
Every single step that you take is a step towards the finish line, and every single mile matters.
Yeah.
And and it's not just about every single mile in itself is different. We all live through different seasons of life, and things
sure.
come, things go, storms come, storms go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever run a marathon, I haven't, but
Yeah,
if you
but
ever
you will.
have, eventually, I think so.
Yeah.
If you ever have, you're always gung ho at the beginning, but by the
Mm-hmm.
end, man, you're dying.
Yeah.
And but there is a thing called second wind, and
Yeah,
you can
very true.
you can get the air blown back in your sails. But the way I say it, the phrasing "chasing every mile" is
Yeah.
like, you're not just
Yeah.
running every mile. You're
You're
going
chasing it.
you're
Yeah.
going after it
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
And never giving up, never quitting, and every single thing. Like I said earlier, every mile is different. So you want to really chase after each opportunity to reach that finish line, and because that's
absolutely.
ultimately what we're all trying to do. And there is a verse tied to it, but dang it, I can't remember it.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I kind of came.
Well, I like the slogan. I
Well,
really
thank
do.
you.
Yeah.
It kind of came to me, and
Chase every mile.
and then underneath it says, "What, own every victory?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Own every victory.
Because if you don't own every victory,
Right.
then
That's right.
you can really get lost in the
Yeah.
defeats of
Yeah.
what
Those
you have.
small victories are kind of those building blocks.
Exactly.
For, like whenever you're doing something, or at least reaching or obtaining a big goal, Because
Yeah.
those little victories are kind of those little building blocks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To build that foundation.
Yeah, and
So-
if you don't reward yourself along the way, then you can get kind of sucked into this mentality that you never win, kind of thing. Which, I mean, I was there for a good while when I went through that little winter
Yep.
crap.
Yep.
I really was really was there. And now for me, I can't. For me, it kind of it ended up causing some problems for myself, because now it's hard to get back into the gym.
Right.
Now I'm actually
Right.
like struggling to
get back
build the routine
Yeah,
back, because
it's hard. It is hard.
I
'Cause
spent
you
2
get out of
months.
it for just a little while, and I mean, your body just does not want to have to push itself that way.
Exactly.
And it doesn't take very long. And
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
not
noticed
that
that.
not that you're losing all your strength, but just that your muscles are just not as used to those things, So it just feels harder
Yeah.
when you get back into it. Kind of like coming back to work after a long vacation. It's
Oh,
like
man.
you still know what to do, but you're just not really like in that mode of wanting to do it yet.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure you've dealt with that.
Oh, I have. We all have.
Yeah. What do you do to kind of motivate yourself to get back into things?
I think I just have to. I think I have to in my mind. I just have to tell myself that, regardless of once I make up my mind to do it, it's like regardless of how hectic the day at work has been, regardless of what all's going on outside of some crazy emergency, but it's like if I know that it's time to be there, then I'm just going to be there. And I mean, even if I show up and maybe I didn't have the best sleep or the best food that particular day, but doesn't matter. That's the biggest thing, being consistent, showing up. And even if that particular workout you're not moving quite as much weight every now and then, oh well, at least you're there and you're doing something, and you're priming yourself for excelling at the next workout, if nothing else. So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know, for me, like, once I make up my mind to do it, like, it come hell or high water kind of thing. It's like, I'm going to get it done, regardless of any of the outside factors, outside of if you have a true emergency in life. But most people, it's just, I'm tired, or I don't wanna, or work was too, you got to get over all that.
Oh yeah.
Or you'll never get what your goal is. You'll never succeed at it.
I mean, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point,
you have to stop with your excuse.
Yeah, because that's all they are.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Yeah, and you're just finding reasons.
Yeah,
you're looking.
And I mean, you don't have to. You don't, whether it's, well, it doesn't matter if it's the park or the the swimming or going to the gym or just wherever. But you don't have to go there and try to do something that somebody else has been doing for 10, 20 years, and they're obviously really good at it because they've been doing it forever. But that's, you just need to get there and just do what you can do,
Oh yeah.
and then progressively advance through those stages, as your body adapts and allows you to move more or do more or, push yourself a little bit harder.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a process.
Well, things you can always change it later because you're changing it up a little bit recently, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
As far as like just weightlifting,
Like your workouts in general.
yeah, like I mean, my workouts are still pretty much the same in terms of like I always try to start with like big compound movements, so like bench press or deadlifts or squats or pull-ups or things like that. I always try to start with what I consider the harder things, the compound stuff, and then I'll move on to the more secondary, smaller auxiliary kind of, like curls or tricep dips or just different little things. But right now I'm really kind of playing around with for a long time I was kind of doing 4 sets of everything, and I would do, if it was a heavy day, I'd do like 4 sets of 4 on every exercise. If it was like a volume day, I'd do more like 4 sets, but it might be like 12 reps, 8 reps, 6 and 4 reps. So now I'm kind of switching it up for the sake of increasing my time, having more time in the gym by shortening kind of those sets. So now I'm trying to do 3 sets of like 10, and then on my heavier days, instead of the 4 sets of 4, more like 5 sets, or I'm sorry, 3 sets of 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, 3 sets of 5. And then on that last, set, if I can push it an extra 6th rep or so, I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I'm also by about 30 seconds now shortening my overall rest time in between those sets.
Oh boy.
So, for example, if a rest time was 2 minutes in between a certain set, now it's like a minute and a half, 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So, if it's really big exercises, like on heavy days where it takes a lot out of you to do those 4 or 5 reps each set, then instead of like maybe a 3-minute break in between, maybe now it's 2.5-minute break. Or so I'm trying to shorten, and that keeps your heart rate up. But also it'll, by the time you're finished with everything, like you'll have more time perhaps to get to another workout or another exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to consolidate and make the most of my time while I'm there, because I always try to give myself about an hour and a half total time of working out each workout.
Okay.
So, and I'm trying to cram as much of that I can into that hour and a half.
Well, you're a little guy, so
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I am a little jealous because I am not as I mean, like, I guess I'm short, but I'm not that short.
Yeah, you're
Like,
not that
I'm
short.
about average,
Yeah.
I'm not in the 6-foot range.
Right. Well,
but,
me neither.
Yeah. But man, all the short guys, like, man, I feel like they just have to do like one workout and then
They just
balloon
kinda
up.
balloon
man.
up.
Like,
Yeah, seems like
sucks.
it. It seems like it. Yeah.
But man, when are you gonna come out there and run with me?
Well, boy,
Oh.
I used to do an awful lot of running, and I hadn't done a whole
Yeah.
lot of running lately. But maybe here sometime.
Okay. Well, it'd be nice to
Yep.
see you out there on the track.
Every now and then I get the itch to run again.
Oh, you need to just scratch that itch. And
Yeah.
just get up out there and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually a lot more fun than I
Yeah.
previously thought.
Yeah.
and also a lot more dangerous.
Yeah. I mean,
I've
but
kind of noticed. But
yeah.
Well, cool. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting because you get kind of stuck in this one frame of mind on your workouts, and then
Yeah.
you got to change it up. A little bit.
Yeah, it is good to change up a little bit. Like, I mean, I personally, like, I'm a firm believer in always sticking with like the core main stuff, like your foundational kind of stuff. Like, I will never give up probably bench press, squats, pull-ups, deadlifts, that kind of stuff. I mean, but all the smaller stuff, I mean, yeah, you can change that up and kind of move stuff around. And yeah, I mean, but I am a big believer in the compound stuff, because I mean, that's to me the most bang for your buck kind of thing. So
sure.
And I always try to do that first part of the workout so that I can have the most energy towards that stuff. But yeah. And then I do a lot of, I do a lot of supersets and stuff like that too, which that also helps, keep your heart rate and stuff up. And So, like if I'm doing bench press, I might superset with some forearm kind of exercises
Oh
or
yeah.
something. Just something that's not too taxing, so that when I get to that next set of the actual bench press, I've still got enough energy and strength to pull it off
Well,
without
sure. Yeah, you don't want to.
destroying my arms so much. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you
Because
don't want to burn yourself out either.
yeah, I mean you have to. Yeah, you don't want to do too little, but you don't want to do too much.
Well,
I mean, you
sure.
kind of have to find that perfect little median.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
but
think. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that
yeah,
completely.
that's kind of
Cause
how I structure a lot of it. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I mean the superset thing too. Like I know you do a lot of forearms. I'm actually trying
Yeah.
to use those supersets to work my core a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
more because
Yeah.
a good balance really
It
helps
is a
with a
good
lot of
balance, yeah.
things.
Because I tried to do a lot of supersets with like forearms or like ab stuff or like smaller shoulder kind of
Oh yeah,
movements
yeah.
and stuff and yeah. And then I also do a lot of I do other things just outside of the gym too, just for fun. Like every day, like I'll do like at different times of the day, I'll do a total of maybe 3 sets of push-ups to failure,
Oh, there you
different
go.
variations of the push-ups, and I might do a couple of different sets of like jumping jacks, a couple hundred at a time, or just
So
stuff
you're
to kind of keep it interesting, and it's just that little bit extra that kind of helps reach maybe certain
yeah,
goals, and it builds your stamina, builds your endurance, and then sometimes if you miss a workout or you have a day where you're not working out quite as hard, it just kind of helps to balance a little bit of stuff, so that
well
you're
sure.
not too far off the rails.
Yeah.
So, but
Now, since it's been an entire year
yeah.
and you've still kept off your weight,
Oh yeah.
that
Aside from
means
about 10 pounds.
well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Which
yeah, but
and honestly, some of that's probably water weight if we're being honest.
it
But
could be. But I mean, take myself for
yeah.
instance. When I was consistently at it, um, back when we did the last
Uh-huh.
episode, I was probably sitting around 180, maybe a little. Actually, I think the lowest I got was like 175,
Maybe so. Yeah.
which for me is good. And probably should share it on the
Uh
internet,
oh.
but I weighed myself.
Everybody listen.
Everybody knows
Yeah.
I weighed myself the other day. You want to know? You want to know what it was?
I do actually.
197.
Sir,
197.
that is getting close to 200.
Dude,
Sir.
I was like, holy crap!
Yikes.
I gotta lay off the donuts, man. I,
But they're so good, right?
well, shoot, it's really just like I was talking about earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just you get stuck.
You get stuck.
I mean, like
Yeah.
because what I think what I contribute most of it to was
Yeah.
the holidays rolled around and I was kind of eating junk then anyway.
Yeah.
And then,
And you kind of not well a little while now, but not all that long ago changed jobs and
oh
so
yeah,
you had
yeah.
some kind of life changes going
Yes.
on and
Yeah, I did switch.
and that can contribute to things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I did switch jobs and
Yeah.
trying to learn a new habit or build new routines with a
Yeah.
new job is stressful
It
in
is
and of
stressful.
itself.
It
But
is stressful.
on the other hand of that, I just kind of didn't really care about my diet much either.
Right,
And
right.
I just. But you'll be happy to know that
Oh.
I'm taking it serious now.
Good.
I'm back on track.
Good.
I bought some collagen peptides again.
Okay.
So
okay.
I've been putting that in my coffee. So I've been doing
Okay.
that protein coffee that we talked
Yep,
about.
Yep.
So basically, I'll just do like 1 scoop of collagen peptides, the unflavored, so it
Okay.
doesn't do anything to
Yeah.
my coffee.
Yeah.
And since I drink coffee in the morning every day
Yeah.
anyway, might as well.
Might as well.
So I throw that in, and it's about I think it's about 20 grams of protein for that.
Probably.
Yeah. But I mean, collagen peptides are good just for your digestion
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Just overall.
Yeah. And then I've been calming down on the sweets.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
I've laid a lot of them off, and
Yeah.
just today I've had an energy drink, but I haven't had an energy drink in like
In a while. Yeah.
3 or 4 months. Like I
Yeah.
just really cut them out.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was kind of unintentional, but intentional kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of got tired of them and just axed them completely for a
Yeah.
while, and then
Yeah.
just recently I was like, oh, why not? Why
Right.
not?
Why not? Yeah.
For the heck of it. But
Yeah.
but I think, I mean, I know that nutrition is half the battle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
you know.
honestly, I would say nutrition's even more than half the battle because I mean that's the single biggest thing. I mean because man, I mean, you can go have the best workouts in the world, but if your overall diet, and I don't mean like you eat just bland crap all the time, but I mean just your, you know what I mean, like your healthy versus unhealthy kind of lifestyle of eating. If that's not on point, then man, all the hard workouts in the world, you'll never outwork a bad diet. Like you just won't, because it's
Yeah.
so much easier to like get those calories in than it is to burn them off.
Oh yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, it's it might be up there. I don't know what percentage people throw out there, but it's probably 80-90% what you eat and drink, and then a smaller percentage of what your actual workouts are.
I'd have to
But
agree. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
it's
at least for
significant.
me, I found that to be the case, because even when I was kind of slacking on my workouts for a few months, as far as the intensity and the frequency of them. I mean, I was still doing them, but just not as hardcore. But by still overall keeping my food and stuff on track, and what I would drink and stuff, then yeah, it still helped me stay around the same weight.
Well, sure. I mean,
So
and I
yeah, so it does
probably,
work. I mean,
yeah, I probably
it
wouldn't
definitely
have.
works.
I probably wouldn't have hit 197 if
No,
I
no,
wasn't
yeah.
eating a whole bunch of just
Well,
garbage.
right. Plus, not working out, and yeah,
Yeah. I better throw that in then too.
yeah,
I stopped.
yeah,
I stopped working out for a good while. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. I just
So your body was not, in that burning mode
yeah,
like it was used to when you were working out is more,
yeah. Well, get this too. Like, just a byproduct of getting older, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My metabolism's different too.
Yeah.
I've noticed. So like before, when I was really after it last, just a year ago,
Yeah.
I could intermittent fast and have no problems. But nowadays, if I try it,
Yeah.
last time I tried it, I almost fainted by lunch because I was just
Yeah.
so
Malnourished,
dehydrated.
probably,
Yeah,
dehydrated, yeah.
dude, it like knocked my.
Well, and that's kind of the crazy thing, at least from what I personally discovered, because like back in the day when I wasn't working out and I was just eating a lot of junk, and I would got up to my heaviest, that's one thing, but now, by working out consistently and pushing myself as hard as I do, and then intermittent fasting, and then just overall eating a lot healthier, the crazy thing is I can eat literally so much more than I was back then, but still lose weight.
Well,
So it's just wild. It's wild how your body, can, because it's like you're keeping your body in that burning mode.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I can eat a crap ton of food. I mean, now it's
Oh, I know.
it's generally fairly healthy, but it's a volume. It's a
Yeah.
lot of food.
Uh-huh.
People are always like impressed, I guess, about how much I eat, but it's like, but a lot of times what they don't realize is that a lot of it's also because I intermittent fast. So by
Yeah.
the time I eat that first meal, man, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then a
sure.
lot of times too, like that one meal will be what I then bank off of to go do my workout too. So
Oh yeah.
not only is my body already burning like up to eating that first meal, but then I'm gonna go burn more when I get to the gym. So
Well,
I mean,
sure. Well, and you do a lot of heavy lifting too. So
I fair amount I do.
yeah. I mean, in any kind of heavy lifting, you need a
Yeah.
good amount of carbs to
Yeah,
really
you
push
need
you through
you need
it.
some calories.
Yeah. Well, I started doing, and I was sharing them with you, those little frog fuel pouches.
Yeah,
Which,
those are
man,
pretty good.
I have to say,
They're pretty good.
I saw them on Facebook once,
Yeah.
and I think I was probably eating something unhealthy at the time, and so I saw them, and I was like, man, I better, these actually look pretty interesting, and they're like these little packs, and you get like, I think it gives you like 30 grams of protein or something
Maybe
like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
But it's in like this little thing you can just knock back like a shot.
Yeah. And I think those are usually, I think a lot of runners use those kind of things for like kind of gel kind of shots or whatever while they're running, because it supposedly doesn't mess up their stomachs or.
Now that's a little different.
It might be a little bit different.
It's similar concept, but a little different, because I think those gel packs are more for like replenishing your electrolytes
Maybe
and stuff,
so, yeah.
like midway.
But
through
they
your
are
runs.
pretty good. I've had a couple of them now.
But yeah,
so
but these
they are
things,
pretty good.
I mean, they're the frog fuels, and they really help. Like, I mean, protein's gonna recover your.
Right.
That's what it's for. It's for recovery.
Right.
So being able to just kind of swig one back. Right after you're done working out.
And recently there was I think it's called Shamrock Farms or something, but it's a brand that I found at HEB that's protein shakes.
Okay.
And normally, like, I'm not a real huge fan of just protein shakes anyway, because either they taste chalky or they just
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But this particular one is really good, and it's more what I would consider a real food because it has to be kept refrigerated.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a long shelf life because it better not be out on that shelf.
Exactly.
Or you're going to get sick probably.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But no, I mean, they use real milk. It has to stay refrigerated, and it's got like, I think 30 grams of protein per, per bottle, per serving basically. So
yeah.
But yeah, really, really good. Not chalky. So yeah, sometimes I'll do things like that too. Maybe in between a meal if I'm a little extra hungry, but
You ever do those before a workout?
not usually, because my rule of thumb is I like to have one pretty big meal and let that big meal digest a good 3 hours or so before that workout.
Yeah.
And that works well for me because I've tried having some of the like pre-workouts and stuff like that right before, and the acidity and some of that stuff just kind of jacks up my stomach. Because again, when I'm there at the gym, I'm usually pretty much pushing myself to dang near failure on a lot of what I do. And so I just, for me personally, it just works good to let everything digest really well, go hit a really hard workout, and then after that, have more food of some kind.
Well, sure.
So,
and I'm sure when you're doing that post-workout meal, it's nothing carb heavy.
I mean, sometimes it can be if it's not the healthiest, but I try not to let it be too much.
Yeah.
like especially like, you know, like my jasmine rice or my brown rice or all that kind of stuff. Like I really try to have that before the workout, and then after the workout, I try to stick to a little bit better maybe protein options.
Okay.
But I'm a regular person like anybody else, and there's times that I just, hey, Chick-fil-A, you know. I mean, yeah,
Chick-fil-A all day, man.
You know, Whataburger, hey.
Shoot, dude.
I mean, you know. And now sometimes, like it kind of, you know, sometimes like, you know, like if I know I'm slightly heavier than I want to be or whatever, like, you know, I might opt for just the burger.
Well, sure.
And not the burger and the fry. Or so it's like sometimes you got to make those little substitutions, you know.
Well, and that's the concept of portion control.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
If you can control, sometimes it's not about the food itself.
Right.
It's about how much you eat.
Because I mean, you know, really, really and truly, you can lose weight eating Big Macs every day. Now, you may not have the most nutrition in your body doing it that way, and you may go through a lot of hunger pains and stuff, but it all really comes down to if you're eating, you know, if you're eating more than you burn in a day, you're going to gain, and if you're eating whatever the opposite is, you know, less or whatever, then, I mean, so it really comes down to the total calories, but certain, obviously, you know, if you eat candy bars versus eating fruit, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get the fiber and you're not going to get all the nutrients. And
well, it's funny you mentioned that. So that kind of brings up a thought. So really the key to losing weight is you got to figure out where you're at now calorie wise.
Yeah, you kind of need to know your basic like caloric needs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like kind of at rest. Like what if you're not doing anything but just breathing, you know? You know,
exactly.
You kind of need to figure out, okay, how many do I need roughly in a day to be at this exact, and then you wouldn't have to change any of it. If you just start going for a little walk or a little hike, something that you don't normally do, even staying at those same calories, it's going to start reversing things, and your weight's going to start going the opposite direction.
Well, sure.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And then when you factor in changing a lot of that unhealthier stuff to healthier versions, then you can eat, you know, more food, feel fuller, consume less calories overall, and just really shed a lot of it off. So
well, yeah, and that's what I was saying that was interesting was like, you know, it's also the quality of the food that you're eating.
That's
matters.
the important part.
It's less like you get to the point when you're doing it enough, you kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna eat, like say, okay, it's dinner time and I want to eat 1,500 calories for dinner, period.
Right.
You know, do I want to opt for this Big Mac?
Right.
That is gonna be good and delicious, and
it'll be to your taste buds.
Yeah. Or do I want to go for honestly, you could go for Chick-fil-A and get like
Yeah.
a good chicken sandwich. The chicken sandwich is going to have more nutritional value to it than the Big Mac, even though they're about the same calories. So it's kind of like you get to a point where you just pick the more nutritious option. Yeah,
exactly. Because it's like if you go, let's say that you want to, you eat a 450 calorie like Reese's candy bar, right?
Yeah.
Versus having maybe 4, medium to large size bananas, which will factor out to about the same amount of calories, but boy, you're going to feel a lot fuller after 4 bananas than you're going to those little, Reese's, and they have so many calories in them, but you don't stay full.
Well, yeah,
you're not satiated, and it doesn't have much nutrition.
They're empty calories.
They're just empty calories.
'Cause they don't.
That's why, like, my general rule of thumb too nowadays is like I don't. Aside from sometimes I'll have whole milk, but for the most part, I don't drink my calories anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, anything that I have, it's calorie free. So, water, black coffee. I will do some diet sodas or some diet energy drinks here and there. But for the most part, I don't drink calories anymore.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot too. I mean, because you go get a big gulp somewhere, a regular soda, and I mean, man alive, I mean, who knows? You might be drinking 400, 500, 600 calories.
Oh yeah,
I mean, easy, and that could just be one of your drinks for the day.
Well, shoot, yeah. I mean, gosh, just you start looking at the labels, and it'll surprise you. Yeah, and I'm one to talk.
but the more the more serious you get about like what your goals are, the more you'll be willing to make those little changes and those little tweaks.
You start noticing too as you go along, like the more healthy you eat as a general whole, the less the other stuff tastes good.
It's true. It really is true. Like I never thought that would be true, but then like after going a while and not having a donut or something, and then finally having one again just because somebody brought them at work, and then you're like, I mean, not that this is bad, but it just doesn't taste like I remember, if that makes any sense. Like and then on top of that, you're like, I don't feel that healthy,
Exactly.
Like probably because it's not,
So this conversation actually took 2 hours. We just kept talking and lost track of time, and it was just such a good talk. So for that reason, I actually have split it into 2 parts. So go check that second part out when you get a chance. As always, stay motivated, stay encouraged, never stop chasing greatness, and chase every mile. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.